Ya Allahku, mengapa kau tinggalkanku? Ku berseru, namun kau tetap jauh. Ya Allahku, mengapa kau tinggalkanku? Dan tiada menolongku.
Kau tak menjawab seruanku. Selamat malam Bapak Ibu, Saudara-saudari sekalian. Kebaktian malam ini Kamis Putih kita dilayani oleh Pendeta Handri Salim. Majelis tugas saya sendiri, Jamin Jaya Pranata, pemandu pujian oleh Bapak Hen dan Ibu Erin, pengiring pujian oleh Saudari Jessica, multimedia dan sound system dilayani oleh Penatua Yosef Istanto, Saudari Livia, dan Saudara Michelle. Dengan ini, Majelis dan Jemaat GKI Cipinang Elok mengucapkan banyak terima kasih atas pelayanan Bapak Ibu, Saudara-saudari sekalian. Dan Bapak Ibu, jangan lupa besok siang kita akan ada ibadah Jumat Agung yang akan diadakan pada pukul 2 siang. Demikian warta untuk hari ini di Kamis Putih. Terima kasih. Umat yang terkasih, malam ini kita memperingati Kamis Putih melalui ibadah Tenebrae. Kata Tenebrae berarti bayang-bayang atau kegelapan. Dan dalam kebaktian ini, kita diajak untuk mengenang momen-momen kelam perjalanan sengsara Yesus sampai penyalipannya. Pengenangan akan jalan sengsara tersebut menjadi sebuah perjalanan yang memulihkan. Karena itu, marilah kita siapkan hati dan diri kita agar kita merasakan sentuhan pemulihan Sang Terang yang menghalau bayang-bayang kelam. Mari Bapak Ibu, Saudara-saudari sekalian, kita bersaat teduh sejenak. Umat diundang untuk bangkit berdiri. Inilah hukuman itu. Terang telah datang ke dalam dunia, tetapi manusia lebih menyukai kegelapan daripada terang.
Allah adalah terang, dan di dalam Dia sama sekali tidak ada kegelapan.
Sebab Allah mengutus anaknya ke dalam dunia bukan untuk menghakimi dunia,
melainkan untuk menyelamatkannya oleh Dia.
Sebab barang siapa berbuat jahat, membenci terang dan tidak datang kepada terang itu, supaya perbuatan-perbuatannya yang jahat itu tidak nampak.
Tetapi barang siapa melakukan yang benar, ia datang kepada terang.
Kaulah ya Tuhan surya hidupku, asal Kau ada yang lain tak perlu. Siang dan malam Engkau ku kenal, di hadirat-Mu jiwaku tenang.
Tuhan besertamu.
Dan bersertamu juga.
Marilah jemaat Tuhan kita berdoa. Tuhan yang Maha Pemurah, kami berhimpun di sini pada malam ini sebagai umat yang telah diselamatkan oleh Kristus. Kami ingin mengenang pengorbanannya yang telah dihianati, ditangkap, diserahkan kepada tangan-tangan yang berdosa dan disalibkan bagi kami. Pada saat ini kami menghayati jalan pengorbanannya. Kuatkanlah iman kami. Ampunilah pengkhianatan kami. Kobarkanlah semangat kami untuk mengikuti jalan salib Kristus. Baginya lah kemuliaan sampai selama-lamanya. Amin.
It was now the day before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. He had always loved those in the world who were his own, and he loved them to the very end. Jesus and his disciples were at supper. The devil had already put into the heart of Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, the thought of betraying Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had given him complete power. He knew that he had come from God and was going to God. So he rose from the table, took off his outer garment, and tied a towel round his waist. Then he poured some water into a wash basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and dry them with the towel around his waist. He came to Simon Peter.
Are you going to wash my feet, Lord?
You do not understand now what I am doing, but you will understand later.
Never, at any time, will you wash my feet.
If I do not wash your feet, you will no longer be my disciple.
Lord, do not wash only my feet, then. Wash my hands and head, too.
Those who have taken a bath are completely clean and do not need to wash themselves, except for their feet. All of you are clean. All except one.
Jesus already knew who was going to betray him. That is why he said, all of you except one are clean.
Tidak semua kita bersih. Yudas Iskariot kotor hatinya. Tetapi bukan hanya dia. Petrus juga. Murid-murid lain juga. Begitu juga dengan saudara dan saya. Kotor. Ketika menyadari para murid berada dalam kondisi tidak bersih, Yesus tidak menyuruh mereka membersihkan diri, menghakimi, apalagi menghukum mereka. Sebaliknya Yesus malah menanggalkan jubahnya, merendahkan dan membasuh kaki murid-muridnya sebagai simbol pembersihan, simbol pemulihan dan penyucian. Sekaligus juga simbol pelayanan yang muncul dari kasihnya kepada para murid dan kerelaannya untuk berkorban. Pembersihan dan pemulihan dapat dimulai dari yang terlihat, seperti mencuci tangan, memperhatikan kebersihan diri dan tempat tinggal, memakan makanan yang sehat. Dan pada saat yang sama, kita memulihkan diri dengan belajar mengampuni diri sendiri dan sesama. Apakah saudara menyadari ketidakbersihan diri saudara? Atau sebaliknya, saudara merasa diri sudah bersih? Apakah saudara menyadari bahwa kita bisa menjadi bersih bukan karena kemampuan diri sendiri untuk hidup kudus, bukan karena kerohanian saudara, melainkan semata-mata karena penyucian dan pemulihan dari Kristus. Bagaimana sikap saudara terhadap orang lain yang saudara anggap belum bersih? Apakah saudara menghakimi atau belajar memahami dan menolong mereka untuk mengalami pemulihan?
Oh Allahku, jenguklah diriku, ujilah hati dan pikiranku. Aku telah berdosa dan cemar, sucikan dan jadikanku benar.
After Jesus had washed their feet, he put his outer garment back on and returned to his place at the table.
Do you understand what I have just done to you? You call me teacher and Lord. And it is right that you should do so, because that is what I am. I, your Lord and teacher, have just washed your feet. You then should wash one another's feet. I have set an example for you, so that you will do just what I have done for you. I am telling you the truth. No slaves are greater than their master, and no messengers are greater than the one who sent them. Now that you know this truth, how happy you will be if you put it into practice. And now I give you a new commandment. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. If you have love for one another, then everyone will know that you are my disciples.
Perintah untuk saling mengasihi bukanlah perintah baru. Perintah itu sudah ada dalam hukum Taurat. Apanya yang baru? Kualitasnya. Yesus meminta para murid termasuk saudara dan saya untuk saling mengasihi sama seperti Yesus mengasihi para muridnya. Kasih yang Yesus tunjukkan adalah kasih yang nyata dalam tindakan. Bukan sekadar ucapan, aku mengasihimu. Bukan juga hanya soal perasaan. Bagi Yesus, mengasihi berarti merendahkan diri. Memandang orang lain lebih utama, lebih penting dari diri sendiri. Mengasihi berarti menanggalkan kepentingan diri demi melayani sesama. Kasih yang seperti inilah yang dapat memulihkan. Kasih kepada mereka yang lemah, yang dianggap tak pantas untuk menerimanya. Seberapa besar kasih saudara kepada pasangan, kepada keluarga, kepada sesama di sekitar saudara? Apakah saudara rela berkorban demi kebaikan dan keselamatan sesama di sekitar saudara? Apakah saudara bersedia menolong dan memulihkan mereka yang terluka atau melukai saudara?
Padamu, agar di antara kamu saling mengasihi. sama seperti aku mengasihimu, sehingga orang akan tahu engkau muridku, jikalau saling mengasihi, sehingga orang akan tahu engkau muridku, jikalau saling mengasihi.
After Jesus had said this, he was deeply troubled and declared openly,
I am telling you the truth. One of you is going to betray me.
The disciples looked at one another, completely puzzled about whom he meant. One of the disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was sitting next to Jesus. Simon Peter motioned to him.
Ask him whom he is talking about.
So that disciple moved closer to Jesus' side.
Who is it, Lord? I will dip some bread in the sauce and give it to him. He is the man.
So he took a piece of bread, dipped it, and gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. As soon as Judas took the bread, Satan entered into him.
Hurry. And do what you must.
None of the others at the table understood why Jesus said this to him. Since Judas was in charge of the money bag, some of the disciples thought that Jesus had told him to go and buy what they needed for the festival, or to give something to the poor. Judas accepted the bread and went out at once. It was night.
Where are you going, Lord?
You cannot follow me now where I am going. But later you will follow me.
Lord, why can't I follow you now? I am ready to die for you.
Are you really ready to die for me? I am telling you the truth. Before the rooster crows, you will say 3 times that you do not know me. Do not be worried and upset. Believe in God. And believe also in me.
Pada waktu itu hari sudah malam. Kegelapan mulai merasuk di dalam diri Yudas dan Petrus. Yesus mengetahui hal itu. Dan ia telah berusaha mengingatkan mereka berdua dengan cara yang lembut. Yesus berbisik di hati Yudas. Namun hatinya telah menjadi beku karena ambisi untuk menjalankan rencana gelapnya. Yesus mengingatkan Petrus. Namun rasa percaya dirinya membuat dia menyepelekan apa yang Yesus katakan. Kegelapan kadang juga bisa datang merasuk dalam diri kita. Ketika kita berniat melakukan apa yang kita tahu salah atau merugikan orang lain. Pada waktu itu, Yesus yang sama juga berbicara di hati, menegur dan menyadarkan kita. Apakah ada hal-hal yang saudara rencanakan atau lakukan yang saudara yakini tidak sesuai dengan kehendak Tuhan? Apakah saudara menyadari teguran dan bisikan Kristus di dalam sanubari saudara? Apakah saudara bersedia ditegur dan lalu mengubah diri dengan sukacita?
Di heningnya malam ini, tulus dan rendah hati, bertelut berdoa padamu. Inilah bisik kalbu. Apa yang aku miliki, tubuh dan jiwa ini, ku serahkan hanya padamu, kurban persembahanku. Walau ku berdosa, walau ternoda, tetapi darah yang kudus telah sucikan diriku. Diriku kini bukan diriku lagi, melainkan Kristus Tuhanku hidup dalam diriku.
After Jesus had said this prayer, he left with his disciples and went across Kidron Brook. There was a garden in that place, and Jesus and his disciples went in. Judas, the traitor, knew where it was, because many times Jesus had met there with his disciples. So Judas went to the garden, taking with him a group of Roman soldiers and some temple guards sent by the chief priests and the Pharisees. They were armed and carried lanterns and torches. Jesus knew everything that was going to happen to him, so he stepped forward and asked them,
Who is it you are looking for?
Jesus of Nazareth.
Judas the traitor was standing there with them when Jesus said to them,
I am he.
They moved back and fell to the ground. Again, Jesus asked them,
Who is it you are looking for?
Jesus of Nazareth.
I have already told you that I am he. If then you are looking for me, let these others go.
He said this so that what he had said might come true. Father, I have not lost even one of those you gave me. Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's slave, cutting off his right ear. The name of the slave was Malchus.
Put your sword back in its place! Do you think that I will not drink the cup of suffering which my father has given me?
Then the Roman soldiers, with their commanding officer and the Jewish guards, arrested Jesus, tied him up, and took him first to Annas. He was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was high priest that year. It was Caiaphas who had advised the Jewish authorities that it was better that one man should die for all the people. Simon Peter and another disciple followed Jesus. That other disciple was well known to the high priest, so he went with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest's house, while Peter stayed outside by the gate. Then the other disciple went back out, spoke to the girl at the gate, and brought Peter inside.
Aren't you also one of the disciples of that man?
No. I'm not.
It was cold, so the servants and guards had built a charcoal fire and were standing around it warming themselves. So Peter went over and stood with them, warming himself. The high priest questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teaching. Jesus answered,
I have always spoken publicly to everyone. All my teaching was done in the synagogues and in the temple where all the people come together. I have never said anything in secret. Why then do you question me? Question the people who heard me. Ask them what I told them. They know what I said.
How dare you talk like that to the high priest? If I have said anything wrong, tell everyone here what it was. But if I am right in what I have said, why do you hit me?
Then Annas sent him, still tied up, to Caiaphas, the high priest. Peter was still standing there, keeping himself warm. So the others said to him, Aren't you also one of the disciples of that man?
No, I am not.
But Peter denied it. One of the high priest's slaves, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, spoke up.
Didn't I see you with him in the garden?
No.
And at once, a rooster crowed.
Cari aman, cari yang nyaman. Itulah yang membuat Petrus maupun Yudas mengkhianati Yesus. Dalam kondisi terjepit, kepepet, orang lain dikorbankan. Janji setia diabaikan. Semuanya dilakukan demi keuntungan diri atau demi keselamatan diri. Berbeda benar dengan sikap Yesus. Ketika ia dan para muridnya diserang di Taman Getsemani oleh serombongan prajurit bersenjata, Yesus tidak cari aman. Ia tidak mengorbankan para muridnya, malah melindungi mereka. Dengan tegas ia berkata kepada mereka yang ingin menangkapnya, Akulah dia yang kamu cari. Tangkaplah aku, tetapi biarkan mereka ini pergi. Pernahkah saudara mengorbankan kerabat atau sahabat demi keuntungan diri sendiri? Pernahkah saudara membiarkan kejahatan atau kesalahan terus terjadi demi kenyamanan diri?
Ku berikan bagimu tubuhku, darahku, engkau pun ku tebus selamat jiwamu. Bagimu ku beri hidupku, apakah balasmu? Bagimu ku beri hidupku, apakah balasmu?
Early in the morning, Jesus was taken from Caiaphas' house to the governor's palace. The Jewish authorities did not go inside the palace, for they wanted to keep themselves ritually clean in order to be able to eat the Passover meal. So Pilate went outside to them and asked,
"What do you accuse this man of?"
We would not have brought him to you if he had not committed a crime.
Then you yourselves take him and try him according to your own law.
We are not allowed to put anyone to death.
This happened in order to make come true what Jesus had said when he indicated the kind of death he would die. Pilate went back into the palace and called Jesus.
Are you the king of the Jews?
Does this question come from you? Or have others told you about me?
Do you think I'm a Jew? It was your own people and the chief priests who handed you over to me. What have you done?
My kingdom does not belong to this world. If my kingdom belonged to this world, my followers would fight to keep me from being handed over to the Jewish authorities. No. My kingdom does not belong here.
Are you a king, then?
You say that I am a king. I was born and came into the world for this one purpose: to speak about the truth. Whoever belongs to the truth listens to me.
And what is truth?
Then Pilate went back outside to the people and said to them,
I cannot find any reason to condemn him, but according to the custom you have, I always set free a prisoner for you during the Passover. Do you want me to set free for you the King of the Jews?
They answered him with a shout,
Give us Barabbas! Give us
Barabbas! Barabbas was a bandit. Then Pilate took Jesus and had him whipped. The soldiers made a crown out of thorny branches and put it on his head. Then they put a purple robe on him and came to him and said, "Long live the King of the Jews." And they went up and slapped him. Pilate went back out once more and said to the crowd,
"Look, I will bring him out here to you to let you see that I cannot find any reason to condemn him. Look, here is the man."
So Jesus came out, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe.
Crucify him!
Crucify him!
You take him then and crucify him. I find no reason to condemn him.
Apakah kebenaran itu? Tanya Pilatus. Dia bertanya bukan karena tidak tahu apa yang benar atau mana yang benar. Dia tahu siapa yang benar ketika dia tidak menemukan kesalahan apapun dalam diri Yesus. Ia juga tahu apa yang benar, yaitu melepaskan orang yang benar dari hukuman. Yang sulit bagi Pilatus adalah menjalankan kebenaran, menegakkan kebenaran dengan segala konsekuensinya. Ketika sadar bahwa tindakan membebaskan Yesus akan membuat dirinya dibenci rakyat dan tidak lagi populer, Pilatus akhirnya memilih untuk tidak berpihak kepada kebenaran. Orang yang teguh melakukan apa yang benar, membela orang yang benar, memang kadang harus menempuh jalan yang sepi, melawan arus. Jalannya tidak mudah, tapi itulah jalan yang Tuhan ingin kita lalui. Ketika saudara melihat orang tak bersalah diperlakukan secara tidak adil, apakah yang saudara lakukan? Beranikah saudara membela pihak yang benar walaupun harus melawan arus? Sudikah saudara menempuh jalan yang sepi, jalan yang tidak mudah, tetap melakukan apa yang benar sekalipun tidak banyak yang mendukung saudara?
Ya Tuhan, bimbing aku di jalanku, sehingga ku selalu bersamamu. Engganlah ku melangkah setapapun, apabila kau tak ada di sampingku.
Then Pilate handed Jesus over to them to be crucified. So they took charge of Jesus He went out, carrying his cross, and came to the place of the skull, as it is called. In Hebrew it is called Golgotha. There they crucified him, and they also crucified 2 other men, one on each side, with Jesus between them. Pilate wrote a notice and had it put on the cross. Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews, is what he wrote. Many people read it because the place where Jesus was crucified was not far from the city. The notice was written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. The chief priest said to Pilate, "Do not write the King of the Jews, but rather..."
This man said, "I am the King of the Jews."
What I have written stays written.
After the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his clothes and divided them into 4 parts, 1 part for each soldier. They also took the robe, which was made of 1 piece of woven cloth without any seams in it. The soldiers said to one another, "Let's not tear it. Let's throw dice to see who will get it." This happened in order to make the scripture come true. They divided my clothes among themselves and gambled for my robe. And this is what the soldiers did. Standing close to Jesus' cross were his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. Jesus saw his mother and the disciple he loved standing there.
"He is your son."
Then he said to the disciple,
"She is your mother."
From that time, the disciple took her to live in his home.
Dalam proses penyaliban, Tuhan Yesus sama sekali tidak diperlakukan secara manusiawi. Yang ada pada hari itu semata-mata tontonan kekerasan. Dalam kondisi tubuh penuh luka dengan darah menetes dari mahkota durinya, Yesus masih harus memikul kayu salib yang berat, disalibkan, dihina, pakaiannya dilucuti dan dibagi-bagi. Namun demikian, di tengah semua tontonan kekerasan itu, ada tindakan kasih yang manusiawi yang Yesus tunjukkan. Ia menyapa ibunya dengan berkata, "Ibu, inilah anakmu." Ia menitipkan ibunya kepada murid-muridnya dengan berkata, "Inilah ibumu." Ketika seseorang menjadi korban tindak kekerasan, adalah wajar jika ia membalas juga dengan kekerasan, dengan menyalahkan orang, mencaci maki atau mengutuki. Kekerasan bisa mengubah hati lembut menjadi keras dan pahit. Namun tidak demikian dengan hati Yesus. Sampai akhir hidupnya, kasih-Nya tidak luntur. Di tengah penderitaan yang ia alami, perhatiannya masih terus tertuju pada ibu dan para murid-Nya. Apakah yang saudara lakukan ketika saudara diperlakukan tidak adil, dihina, atau dicerca? Bagaimana respon saudara terhadap kekerasan dan ketidakadilan yang terjadi di sekitar saudara? Apakah kekerasan dan ketidakadilan yang pernah dialami mengubah saudara menjadi pelaku kekerasan?
Lihatlah anak insan berjubahkan kain ungu, di kepalanya dikenakan mahkota berduri, menetes peluh dan darah mengucur membasah bumi, serasa lutut tak mampu menopang tubuh lagi.
Jesus knew that by now everything had been completed. And in order to make the scripture come true, he said,
I am thirsty.
A bowl was there, full of cheap wine. So a sponge was soaked in the wine, put on a stalk of hyssop, and lifted up to his lips. Jesus drank the wine.
It is finished.
Then he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
Ketika itu tabir bait suci terbelah dua dari atas sampai ke bawah. Waktu kepala pasukan yang berdiri berhadapan dengan dia melihat matinya demikian, berkatalah ia, sungguh orang ini adalah anak Allah. Umat yang terkasih, lilin putih menyala kembali. Sebab ada tertulis, terang itu bercahaya di dalam kegelapan, dan kegelapan itu tidak menguasainya.
Mari lihatlah hari terkelam, Kristus mendaki Kalvari.
Dia didera, duri dan cerca, dipaku di salib. Oh ajaib salibnya, oh ajaib kuasanya, manusia ditebus dan diampuni dosanya.
Tiap salahku, dosa-dosa aku jadi mahkota durimu.
Oh, sungguh sendu raut wajahmu, memikul bebanku.
Oh, ajaib
salibnya, oh ajaib kuasanya, manusia ditebus dan diampuni dosanya.
Hari pun gelap, bumi bergetar, karena telah wafat Haliknya.
Tirai terbelah, ia hiduplah, sang penebus menang. Oh ajaib salibnya, oh ajaib kuasanya, manusia ditebus dan diampuni dosanya. Dalam lukamu ada namaku, aku selamat karenanya. Maut hancurlah, hidupku cerah karena kasih-Mu. Oh ajaib salibnya, oh ajaib kuasanya, manusia ditebus dan diampuni dosanya.
Kiranya Yesus Kristus yang demi kita telah taat sampai mati, bahkan sampai mati di kayu salib, menjaga dan menguatkan kita kini dan selamanya.